You're watching your wife being led away by the most powerful man on earth. You can't move. You can't speak. Around you, 50 other senators sit frozen, their wine cups trembling in their hands. Some are praying she'll return. You're praying she won't say anything that gets you both killed. 20 minutes pass like 20 years. When he finally brings her back, he doesn't just return her to your side. He sits down. He pours himself wine. And then, in front of everyone you know, he begins to describe, in graphic, clinical detail, exactly what just happened in that room. Your colleagues are staring at their plates. Your wife is staring at nothing. And you have to smile. You have to nod. You have to thank him. Because the alternative is watching your children die. This wasn't madness. This was a machine. A system designed with surgical precision to destroy the human soul. And the man who built it learned everything he knew by watching his entire family get murdered by the previous emperor. His name was Caligula, and what he did to Rome is so disturbing, so systematically evil, that 2,000 years later, we're still trying to understand how one human being could architect this level of psychological warfare. If you believe that the documented records of history's most terrifying figures must be remembered, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support unearths more accounts from the darkest corners of the human story. Now, back to the man who turned cruelty into an art form. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear gets worse, much worse. And the most terrifying part isn't what he did, it's that the system he built outlived him. Before I show you the 5 acts of Caligula's terror machine, you need to understand something crucial. He wasn't born evil, he was manufactured, and the process started when he was 7 years old. Picture this. The year is 14 AD. A little boy, maybe 6 or 7, is running through a Roman military camp. He's wearing a miniature legionnaire uniform, complete with tiny armor and little red boots. The soldiers, battle-hardened men who've conquered half the known world, are laughing, picking him up, tossing him in the air. They call him Caligula, Little Boots. He's the son of Germanicus, Rome's greatest general since Julius Caesar himself. The soldiers worship his father, and they adore this kid. He's their mascot, their good luck charm. Everywhere Germanicus goes, little Caligula follows, and the men genuinely believe this child brings them victory. This boy is growing up thinking he's invincible, loved, protected by the most powerful army on earth. He has no idea what's coming. 1 year later, his father dies. The official story, sudden illness. The whispered story, poison, ordered by someone close to the emperor, maybe the emperor himself. Caligula is 8 years old when the machine starts destroying his family. His mother, dragged from their home, accused of treason against the emperor. His oldest brother, arrested, imprisoned, starved until he tried to eat the stuffing from his mattress. His second brother, exiled to an island where guards tortured him until he smashed his own head against the walls to end it. One by one, they're erased, and young Caligula watches it all happen. By the time he's 19, he's the last one left, the sole survivor of his entire bloodline. And then comes the summons. Emperor Tiberius wants to see him. Capri, a beautiful island off the coast of Italy. Tiberius has turned it into his personal fortress, far from Rome, far from the Senate, far from anyone who might object to what he does there. The ancient historians, we're talking Suetonius, Tacitus, people writing within living memory of these events, they describe Capri as a house of horrors. Tiberius has become paranoid, depraved, surrounding himself with astrologers and yes-men, inventing new cruelties because he's bored. And into this environment walks teenage Caligula. He knows Tiberius murdered his family, everyone knows it, but he can't show it, can't even hint at it. One wrong look, one moment of grief, one flash of anger, and he's dead. So he doesn't just survive, he excels. Suetonius writes something chilling. There never was a better servant or a worse master. Caligula learns to bury everything human inside him. He watches, he studies. He becomes exactly what Tiberius wants. Obedient, entertaining, harmless. For 6 years, he plays this role perfectly. And then, in 37 AD, Tiberius dies. Some say natural causes. Others say Caligula smothered him with a pillow. Either way, the 19-year-old hostage is now the most powerful person on earth. Rome celebrates. They think they're getting the son of beloved Germanicus. They have no idea they've just crowned a man who spent 6 years learning how to break human beings from the greatest monster in Roman history. And for 7 months, everything seems perfect. Then he gets sick, and the person who wakes up is not the same person who went to sleep. What happened during those fevered days, we'll never know. But when Caligula recovered, something inside him had shattered, and Rome was about to learn what he'd been hiding. What I'm about to describe isn't random violence. It's not the acts of a madman. Caligula built a system, 5 distinct acts of psychological warfare, each one designed to destroy a different part of the human spirit. And the truly terrifying part is how methodical it was. Let me show you the blueprint. Act 1 of the machine, the sister goddess. Caligula had 3 sisters, but one, Drusilla, was different. Ancient sources say their relationship crossed lines that even Rome found disturbing. Whether the rumors of incest were true or propaganda, what matters is that everyone believed it. And Caligula didn't just allow the rumors, he encouraged them. Then Drusilla died. What happened next reveals the core of Caligula's system, taking his personal pain and forcing an entire empire to experience it. He doesn't just mourn, he weaponizes mourning. First, he has the Senate declare Drusilla a goddess. Not metaphorically, officially. There are now temples to his dead sister where Romans are required to worship. Then he declares a period of mourning. And here's where it becomes monstrous. It is now a capital crime to laugh. It is now a capital crime to bathe. It is now a capital crime to have dinner with your family. Read that again. For weeks, maybe months, if you're caught smiling, you can be executed. Imagine living like that. Your child tells a joke at breakfast. Do you laugh? Do you discipline them for being a child? Every moment of joy becomes a potential death sentence. He's making Rome feel his pain, whether they want to or not. He's learning he can legislate emotion, criminalize happiness, make his inner world everyone's reality. And once he realizes he can control how people feel, he starts experimenting with what else he can take from them. Act 2 of the machine, the imperial brothel. This next part is so disturbing that historians still debate whether it actually happened or was later propaganda. But here's what the ancient sources claim. Caligula establishes a brothel inside the imperial palace. Not for himself, for the public, as a business. And it's not staffed by common prostitutes. It's staffed by the sons and daughters of Rome's noble families, the aristocracy, the senators, the people who rule provinces and command legions. He has heralds go into the streets to announce the prices, different rates for married women versus unmarried, special rates for virgins from senatorial families. And here's the detail that makes it so specifically cruel. He allegedly kept ledgers, detailed records, names, dates, transactions, the bureaucratic accounting of human degradation. Think about what this does psychologically. If you're a Roman nobleman, your entire identity is built on family honor. Your lineage goes back centuries. Your name means something. And now your daughter is being advertised in the streets like livestock. And there's a ledger with her name in it. And you can do absolutely nothing about it because the alternative is execution. He's not just taking their bodies. He's taking the one thing Roman aristocracy valued more than life itself. Their reputation, their legacy, their name. But he's still not done because he realizes something. Public humiliation is powerful, but there's something even more devastating. Private humiliation with public witnesses. Act 3 of the machine, the banquet of predation. Picture this scene again, because now you understand the context. You're at an imperial banquet. You're sitting with your wife. Around you are 50, maybe 100 other senators with their wives. Everyone's drinking wine that tastes like fear. Caligula stands. everyone goes silent. He walks slowly between the tables, looking at the women. His eyes are clinical, evaluative. He's choosing. He stops at your table. He looks at your wife. He inspects her the way you'd inspect a horse you're thinking of buying, checking her teeth, her hair, the shape of her body. He doesn't ask permission, doesn't even acknowledge you exist. He just takes her hand and leads her away. You sit there. The man next to you is staring into his wine. Everyone is pretending this isn't happening, because everyone knows, if you stand up, if you object, if you show any emotion at all, you won't leave this room alive, and neither will she, and neither will your children. So you sit, you drink, you wait. 20 minutes, 30. The conversation around you is forced, brittle. Someone makes a joke and it dies in the air. Finally, he brings her back. She sits down. She won't look at you. And then he sits down too. He doesn't leave, he stays. And in front of everyone, your friends, your colleagues, your rivals, he begins to describe what just happened. In detail, clinical, graphic detail. He's rating her performance, comparing her to other senators' wives, making jokes, and you have to smile. You have to laugh at his jokes. You have to nod like this is all perfectly normal, perfectly fine. He's not just violating your wife, he's destroying you. Everything that makes you a man in Roman society, your ability to protect your family, your authority, your dignity, he's taking it in front of everyone who matters. And tomorrow, you have to come back. You have to smile at these same people. You have to pretend it never happened while everyone knows exactly what happened. This is the genius of the machine. He's not just destroying individuals, he's destroying the social fabric itself, making everyone complicit, making everyone a witness to everyone else's degradation. But we're only at Act 3, and what comes next is so much worse that modern psychologists have studied it as a case study in systematic psychological torture. Because Caligula realizes there's one bond even stronger than marriage, the bond between parent and child. This is Act 4 of the machine, the grieving father. This next part is almost unwatchable. If you need to take a break, I understand. Caligula begins executing people, not for treason, not for crimes, just because he's bored or annoyed or because he wants to see what happens. And he develops a new protocol. If he's executing someone's son, the father has to watch, not from a distance, up close, front row. But here's what elevates it from simple cruelty to systematic torture. The historian Suetonius records a specific incident that reveals the true horror. A father watches his son executed. Caligula then immediately has this man brought to the imperial palace for dinner. That night, the body is still warm. The father is sitting at Caligula's table, and Caligula watches him. Just watches, studying his face like he's conducting an experiment. He's checking to see if the father will cry, if he'll show grief, any sign of pain, because if he does, if he shows any emotion at all, Caligula will know he hasn't broken him completely, that there's still something human left to destroy. So the father sits there, eating food he can't taste, making conversation he can't hear, while his son's body cools in some alley, and the man who ordered it killed is analysing his facial expressions for entertainment. He's not just taking your child, he's taking your right to grieve. He's turning the deepest human bond, parent and child, into a source of terror instead of comfort. Because now, if you love someone, that love becomes a weapon against you. The more you care, the more vulnerable you are, the more he can hurt you. He's making love itself dangerous. And here's what nobody expected. The machine had a fatal flaw. Because while Caligula was busy destroying senators and noblemen, people who were trained to accept humiliation, who understood politics, who could rationalize their suffering as the price of survival, he made one crucial mistake. He aimed his casual, everyday cruelty at the wrong type of person, a soldier. Final act of the machine, the wrong man. His name was Cassius Caria, senior officer in the Praetorian Guard, the emperor's personal bodyguards. These are the elite, the men who stand inches from Caligula every single day, armed, trained, lethal. Caria had one physical characteristic that Caligula found endlessly amusing: a high-pitched voice, and Caligula, true to form, couldn't let it go. Every day, new jokes, new mockery, and here's the specific detail that shows how casual his cruelty had become. When it was Charia's turn to ask for the daily password, a military protocol, something done in front of all the other guards, Caligula would assign him passwords like Venus or Priapus, deliberately effeminate or sexual words that would make the other soldiers smirk. Day after day, week after week. For Caligula, it was throwaway humour, barely worth remembering. For Charia, every joke was a drop of poison. See, Caligula had made a calculation error. Senators could be humiliated because they wanted to live. They had children, estates, legacies worth protecting. They could rationalise survival, but Charia was a soldier, a man trained for violence, a man who stood next to the emperor every single day with a sword on his hip. And Caligula had just taught him that life under this emperor wasn't worth living. Because Caligula had become so confident in his system, so certain that fear would always win, that he forgot the most basic rule of predators. Never corner something that can kill you. What happened next took less than 60 seconds, but it would change the course of Roman history, and the aftermath reveals something even more disturbing than anything Caligula did while he was alive. January 24th, 41. AD, Caligula is attending the theatre. He's in a good mood. He's been organising games, performances. In a few hours, there's going to be a play. Around midday, he decides to leave through a narrow underground corridor, a passageway that connects the theatre to the palace. It's dimly lit, claustrophobic, with rough stone walls on both sides. The conspirators are waiting. Charia steps forward as Caligula approaches. This is normal. Guards always check in with the emperor. He asks for the day's password. And Caligula, completely unaware, totally secure in his invincibility, gives one final sneering, mocking response. It's the last thing he ever says. Charia screams, "Take this," and drives his sword up under Caligula's ribs. Caligula stumbles, tries to run, but there's nowhere to go. The corridor is too narrow. There are conspirators at both ends. They swarm him. 30 stab wounds, according to the sources. 30 times the blade goes in. They don't stop until there's nothing left that could possibly be alive. 4 years of accumulated rage, humiliation, and terror, released in 60 seconds of frenzied violence. The monster is dead, and that's when it gets worse. The conspirators don't stop with Caligula. They find his wife, Caesonia. She knows what's happened. She can hear the screaming. She's begging, pleading, trying to reason with armed men who've just killed an emperor. They stab her to death. Then they find the nursery. Caligula's daughter, Julia Drusilla, is 2 years old, maybe 3. The sources disagree. A soldier picks her up, and while she's crying for her mother, he swings her head first into a marble wall. They have to make sure there's no heir, no one who could grow up and seek vengeance, so they kill a toddler. This is what happens when the machine breaks. It doesn't just stop, it devours everything connected to it. For a few hours, maybe a whole afternoon, it seems like Rome might actually change. The Senate gathers. They start debating. Some want to restore the Republic, get rid of emperors entirely, go back to the old ways. For the first time in generations, there's real discussion about what Rome should be. And then the Praetorian Guard makes a decision. While the Senate is talking, the Guard is looting the palace. They're going through rooms, taking jewelry, coins, anything valuable. One of them hears something behind a curtain. He pulls it back and finds a man hiding there, trembling. Middle-aged, with a stutter and a limp. Claudius, Caligula's uncle. The family embarrassment. Everyone thought he was harmless, probably brain damaged from childhood illness. The guard looks at him, and he doesn't see a harmless fool. He sees a new emperor. The Praetorians carry Claudius on their shoulders to their camp. They proclaim him emperor, and while the Senate is still debating the future of the Republic, the army has already decided. The system survived. Here's what haunts me about this story. Caligula ruled for less than 4 years. 4 years. In the scope of Roman history, that's nothing. A blip, a footnote. And yet 2,000 years later, we're still talking about him. Why? Because Caligula proved something terrifying about power. He showed that the entire machinery of a state, its laws, its military, its economy, its bureaucracy, can be turned into instruments of personal psychological warfare. He didn't work outside the system. He made the system his weapon. The ledgers in the imperial brothel, that's bureaucracy doing its job. The forced mourning for Drusilla, that's law enforcement doing its job. The banquets where he violated senators' wives, that's imperial hospitality doing its job. Every atrocity he committed was technically legal because he was the law. And when he died, the system didn't die with him. It just found a new operator. That's the real horror. Not that one man was a monster, but that the machine he built kept running without him. Look at what came after. Nero burning Rome and blaming Christians. Domitian executing people for looking at him wrong. Commodus forcing senators to watch him fight as a gladiator in the arena. Elagabalus doing things so disturbing, I literally cannot describe them on this platform. The blueprint remained, the machine kept evolving, because Caligula revealed a truth about power that Rome could never unlearn. When one person controls everything, the military, the law, the economy, the culture, there's no mechanism to stop them. No checks, no balances, nothing but waiting for them to die or be killed. And even then, the system just finds someone new. Suetonius wrote that Caligula was the best of servants and the worst of masters. He learned tyranny by pretending to be the perfect subject. He studied under Tiberius, watched how a monster operates, learned every technique, every psychological tool, and then he perfected it. That's the warning, the real lesson. The greatest threats don't announce themselves. They learn, they adapt, they wear the mask of loyalty until they don't need it anymore. There's one more thing. After Claudius became emperor, he had most of Caligula's records destroyed. The ledgers, the correspondence, the documents, burned. The official histories we have are written by men like Suetonius and Tacitus, writing decades later, working from memories and rumours and surviving fragments. Which means what I just told you, the 5 acts, the systematic terror, the machine, that's just what survived the purge. Imagine what we lost. Imagine what was so disturbing that even in an empire that crucified thousands and fed people to lions, they decided it needed to be erased from history. Caligula ruled for 3 years, 9 months, and 8 days. In that time, he built a machine that showed every future tyrant exactly how to break human beings, systematically, psychologically, completely. And the blueprint never disappeared. It's still out there. Which leaves us with one final question. Could it happen again?